In this tutorial, I will explain the map's layout in Mapping Tonal Harmony Pro 6 and why it creates a landscape that is logical and consistent with common practice harmonic progressions. Let's start by drawing the well-known circle of fifths. So, I need 12 points. Let's use C as the one, but I could have used any other note. So we'll have F, B flat. Remember, every note is a perfect fifth apart from the previous node. E flat, A flat, D flat, G flat, which is also F sharp. Then we have B, E, A, D, and G. Now, let's look at some interesting properties in the circle. I'll start by drawing this diameter line here from F to B. So one node before C if we count clockwise. And on this side, I have all the notes from the C major scale. C, D, E, F, G, A, and B. If we take a look at the triads built on each degree of the scale, we have the first three are major. The next three are minor, D minor, A minor, E minor, and the last one is a diminished triad, so B diminished. Let's extend these to seventh chords. So C is major seventh, F is also major seventh, G seventh, D minor 7, A minor 7, E minor 7, and B half diminished 7, or B minor 7 flat 5. Okay, so we have all the seventh chords we get by stacking thirds from the C major scale. Now let's take a look at the C minor scale. I will use the inside of the circle for C minor. C minor is a relative minor of E flat major. So we can build the C minor circle based on the E flat major circle of fifths. We used that diameter before. Now we can use this one from A flat to D. We can copy the same seventh chords, assuming we're on E flat major 7, A flat major 7, B flat is going to be 7, F is minor 7th, C is minor 7th. We'll talk about that later. G is minor 7 and D is half diminished 7th or minor 7th flat 5. And there you are. Those are all the notes from the C natural minor scale. But there's a big problem in this scale. And it's this G minor 7 here. A minor chord is not a good candidate to act as a dominant chord because it contains a B flat, not the B natural, as in the major mode, and therefore there's no tritone in it. So, if we consider this B flat and this B as a special pair, and, as we'll see later on, this A flat and this A, we could substitute one for the other whenever needed to create more consistent cadences or melodies. For example, if we use the B instead of the B flat, now, instead of this G minor 7, we get a G7. And here, we get an A minor 7 flat 5. Let's clean it up. As you can see, I erased some of the chords. Now the chords from the major mode are on the outside of the circle, and the minor chords are on the inside of the circle. Let's add the B diminished 7th here, which we get from the new substitutions we are using. So these are chords from the minor mode, and these are major. D flat and G flat are still there, but remember, they do not belong on the C major or minor. Now, here we have a C minor 7, because there's a B flat on the scale, but with the B we also get a C minor major 7. And probably the C minor major 7 works better as a 1 minor. I will take these out and leave a plain C minor triad so it looks cleaner. But remember, we have more than one choice. Let's add the corresponding functions for each chord. 1 major 7, 4 major 7, 5 7, 2 minor 7, 6 minor 7, 3 minor 7, 7 half and 7 diminished, flat 6 major 7, flat 3 major 7, flat 7 7, 4 minor, 1 minor, and 5 7. We'll leave this G minor 7 for now. Let's work on the map. Now we have a better idea of the chords and their functions in major and minor keys. Okay, in tonal harmony, at any moment in a piece, there is a tonic or key center. Most of the times, I should say. That key center produces three harmonic regions: tonic, subdominant, and dominant. And music wants to travel this way, always trying to get here to the tonic. So this is home. We always want to get back here. We don't have to, but we want to. Now, the dominant is the region with lots of tension. We can think of it as a rough C. Then the subdominant. Not rough, but not home either. I always think of it as a high ground. Let's say a mountain, probably because of the plagal cadence. So there are three harmonic regions: subdominant, dominant, and tonic. When a harmonic progression travels using this path, it releases tension. The authentic cadence would be one of these paths. If we travel for the subdominant, we get a plagal cadence type. For example, in the perfect authentic, we use the 5, and in the plagal, the 4. But there are many other chords in this region. The tonic is where we want to return, and of course, it must have the 1 in major and the 1 minor in minor. You can also write it as such. If we are in C major or minor, then the C and the C minor triads are here. Okay, the major triad has the degrees 1, 3, and 5, and the minor, the 1, flat 3, and 5. Melodically, the most stable degree in the scale is the 1, which makes the 7th degree the most unstable. So, I will put it here in the dominant region. This 7th degree resolves best to the 1 here. If we use the same concept of degree tension as we did with the 7th, we can then map the 4th degree and the flat 6th degree here. The 4 wants to resolve to the 3, or flat 3, and the flat 6 to the 5. Now we can use the 4, the flat 6 for subdominant, and the 7 for dominant to classify and map functions. Remember, on the outside we have the chords from the major, and on the inside, the chords from the minor. These chords all come out from stacking thirds using notes from the C major or minor scale. This is what we call diatonic chords. So these are the diatonic minor and these the diatonic major. Let's classify them. The C is the tonic, no 7, 4, or flat 6. The F has the 4, is subdominant. The G has the 7, is dominant. D minor will be subdominant. A minor tonic. E minor should be a dominant chord, but we'll talk about that later. And B diminished is dominant. Let's see the minor. C minor is the 1, of course. G7 is dominant. D minor 7 flat 5 has both the 4 and the flat 6 is subdominant. And the A half diminished is tonic. The F minor is subdominant, has the 4 and the flat 6. B flat 7, okay. Tonic, subdominant, dominant, tonic, subdominant. It should be a dominant, and it is a 7th chord, but there's no 7th, so it should be a subdominant. But for the reasons I'll explain later, it will work much better if we assign it with the dominants. The E flat is tonic. A flat is subdominant because it has the flat 6. Let's talk about the B flat 7 chord. By our rules, it should be a subdominant chord. It contains the 4 and the flat 6, and it is used as such many times. But let's not forget, it is a 7th chord, and the dominant of the relative major. It does want to resolve to E flat or deceptively to C minor, so it is a good candidate to be in the dominant region of C minor. It also acts somehow as a strange form of the B diminished. Now the E minor is another exception. It should be a dominant since it has the 7th degree, but it also contains the 3 and the 5, and of course is part of the C major 7th chord. But it is an ambiguous chord, and it sometimes behaves as dominant and other times as tonic. Let's go ahead and map the diatonic chords. We will start by drawing 3 circles, 1 in each region. In major, the C and A minor were tonic. We put them in the right place in the circle. Here's the F and the D minor. The G7 would be here. and the B diminished here. Remember, it will be half diminished. The E minor is an ambiguous chord, so we should place it somewhere around here. Let's leave it there for now. Then in minor, C minor here, E flat, the relative major, goes here, A flat goes here, F minor, the D half diminished, the G7 is dominant, and as we've talked about before, the B flat goes here. And let's add the B flat 7 here, since it is so important in the key of the relative major, E flat. And the A minor 7 flat 5 goes here, or half diminished. The B diminished goes here. So here are all the diatonic functions in C major and minor mapped in their respective regions. Now, in Mapping Tonal Harmony Pro, the first level shows only diatonic chords in the 3 main regions. So this E minor, or 3 minor, is not included at this level. So there it is, level 1. All diatonic chords in major and minor, except 3 minor. Now let's say we are moving from the subdominant to the dominant. So we are creating a path with certain attributes, usually represented by a bracket. Same thing from dominant to tonic. So here's the map in Mapping Tonal Harmony Pro 6. You can now try a progression. Change it to jazz voicing. Or to another key. In minor, or functionally, notice that when we view functionally, the map still plays in the key we've selected. Here's the F major 7 voicing. You may browse through other voicings and play from there with great voice leading and the right tensions. You may change the map level, level 2, which includes the 3 minor and the cadential 6/4. Level 3 adds the sub 5 and Neapolitan. 4, secondary dominance. Blues, advanced secondary, and complete map with all functions. Turn on the cadence detector. There's the 2/5, and you can read more about it. A perfect cadence, 5/1. You can also view the available cadences in the current level. There are the deceptive on level 2. That's just browse mode. If we change to progression mode, we can study progressions and read about them. You may view the chord progression and play it. Change it to jazz voicing, add a metronome, and change the tempo. You may view arrows and brackets analysis. Or the chord scale for that function, with chord notation or functional notation. You can search or browse all your local progressions. Or online, where you will find all public published progressions which you may also filter and sort. With the virtual laser pointer, you can easily teach your class via Apple TV or other connections. In edit mode, you can change progressions and create new ones by just sliding your finger over chords on the map. When you are done, name it and save it. And play it right away. Change to audio mode, and you can listen to real recordings from your iTunes library while viewing their analysis played. Don't miss our other tutorials. Mapping Tonal Harmony Pro is available for iPad, Mac, Windows, and Android. Visit mdex.com for more information. Thanks for watching.